put in a hard bob outline first, and then we're going to graduate that edge. The reason why I wanted to show you this one is because I want to show you something that's alternative to the layered bob. Not everybody wants to have layers because layers are removal of weight, so it makes things a little lighter. Sometimes you need to actually put that weight into the haircut. So I'm going to show you that one. Cool? Awesome. Let's get started. So I've pre-sectioned one off, and we can get straight into that. Clips and combs. And what I've done is I've taken a circular section right here, from the apex all the way around to the occipital, to the same round in the back. So what we've got is we've got a very symmetrical circle right there in the crown. And we're going to eliminate that. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to comb all this underneath down, and I'm going to establish the bob line. But what I want to do is I want to show you how I work a bob line. A little bit different than, let's say, a classic kind of bob. One of the hardest things when you're cutting a bob is to actually reach the length that the client desires, because we start here in the back. We put that line in, and then we turn the corner, and then sometimes it's kind of like a mutual disappointment between you and your client, you know what I'm saying? Because you've not reached that length that you wanted. So instead of starting in the back, I'd like to start in the front, because that's generally where people are going to show you the length in the mirror, right? Plus, it's where the weaker area is. We have that ear area, and we're always trying to avoid cutting a hole in that. So we start in the back, and then we put all the work into it, and then we get to the front, and then we put a hole in the haircut. That's a mistake. That's game over. You know, this is haircut, and we don't usually get 3 lives in this game. So we want to try and kind of get it done right the first time. So just making the hair super damp. One of the easiest things for working a bob is to keep the hair really wet. The water will pull the hair down. It adds weight to it, so gravity will just pull that hair down for you. All right, so now that's done. Now we can start the haircut. So I'm choosing to start over the right ear first, and the reason for that is because it's the weaker area, right, where the ear is. And basically, if I put the line in through here, it's not going to jump on me anywhere else. So I'm going to take care of that first, and then we can do the other bits. Kind of working smarter, not harder. Almost like kind of being a hybrid hair cutter, knowing when to be gas and when to be electric. You know what I mean? So combing the hair down, if you notice what I've done is I've got the mannequin at a kind of an eye level for me, so I'm not bending over or hunching over or anything like that. And if I was in the salon situation here, I would have the client hold on to the back of the chair so that I can see at eye level what's going on. What you're after is you actually want to be like this tripod. You need stability in your body position. So I'm going to stand right in front of what I'm cutting. I can spread the legs this way. That will give me stability. If it doesn't work that way, I can do it this way. All right? But I don't really want to be doing this too much because I find that I'm shaking all over the place. All right? I'm not at the gym. So combing that hair down. And when I cut it, what I'm doing is I'm looking through, it's like looking through a tube. It's like having tunnel vision. You know, when you look through a tube, you can't see what's over here and you can't see what's over here. So that's perfect because what it does for me is it just isolates what I'm supposed to work on. Remember that every inch or so, even half an inch, the head turns, it curves. So I need to stand directly in front of what I'm cutting because if I don't, if I cut past my eye, I could be going uphill or I could be going downhill. I only know if it's level if I'm stood directly in front of it. So let's get started on that. So combing the hair down, we're going to cut it on the longer side, just like a long bob. So I'm tapping right above the ear, and I'm tapping it excessively. Once it's gone, you can't put it back on, so be conservative with it. I'm cutting at this neckline. I think that's the kind of definition of a long bob. Once it touches shoulders, then it starts to flick. It's not really a bob anymore. It's just long hair. So keeping it at that kind of optimum length. Combing the hair behind the cheekbone so that I can keep this line level. And now I'm just going to follow it all the way through, taking steps, cutting right in front of what I'm stood in front of. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Again, right in front of what I'm cutting. So what I'm doing is when I'm looking at the hair, I'm looking at it like it's water coming down a waterfall. And what that does for me is it lets me see where the hair lives. And I can cut it where it lives. I'm not bringing it into an artificial place. And I'm just going to take that all the way around now, because I have that line in there, and I'm just going to keep it exactly the same, following that neckline. Tap above the hair, above the comb, to release any excess tension.
Would you say that there's a hair type that's best for this particular haircut?
I would say great question, by the way. I would say, straight hair, like medium thickness, fine hair. Not so great on super curly hair, I don't feel, because of the length of it. Again, combing behind the cheekbone so that I don't round that line up. Okay, so now we've got the outline in there. Now we're going to graduate that. And how we're going to graduate that is really cool. Generally, when we graduate things that get heavier towards the front, like a triangular shape, we start in the back and we pull the hair backwards, right? Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. See, because I've pulled this hair down, I've pulled away from the top. So if I look at this now, with elevation, and I pull that straight out, you can see there's a buildup of weight. So if I continue and bring everything down to that, then it's going to be one length. But if I now work through here and I use elevation, I can now graduate. I can bevel the edge of this bob and not lose any of this outline. So that's what I'm going to do. So first section is to work into this circular section that's not been cut yet. Oops, keep that there, sorry guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a vertical diagonal back section. What that means is the top of the section is in front of the base of the section. So when I pull that section out, straight out from the head, all I'm going to do is now join this top hair onto that underneath, that graduation. Now, if I continue this and I don't use any over direction, it's actually going to get shorter and lighter towards the back. So in a sense, I'm doing triangular graduation backwards. Usually you would start here and over direct this way, but I'm actually just going to utilize the angle of the section and the technique that I'm cutting, and then it will fall triangular. So more of a bob with graduation, and not just a graduated bob. So no over direction. You can see that I'm not pushing the hair forwards, and just cutting that top onto the underneath. And so what we'll do is we'll just walk through all the way. So no over direction, straight out from the head. And now you'll see this buildup of weight.